Hey, good day, family. Pastor Jamal here, Risinggroundchurch. I got a few things to kind of just address briefly. They're a little all over the place. There's no seeming cohesive connection, but there is. So just stay with me. I got to be a little low because I'm in the lobby, and so far nobody's here. So let me get into it real quick. I love this statement. Today's ideas or ideals are bound to disturb yesterday's established order. Today's ideas or ideals are bound to disturb yesterday's established order. What am I talking about? Or what does this mean? Because this is a church, this is a ministry, right? This is God stuff. So what am I pointing at? What is God saying, man? Sometimes we have a problem with the new wine. We have a problem with the new wine because the new wine disrupts or disturbs yesterday's wine. That's why, we need the new wineskin. We need to take on new perspectives of God, with God. Remember, God is unmeasurable. So you can't limit God to just your own or yesterday's established order. So what that means and what that looks like is sometimes we have a problem with truth because it sounds different. But the reason why it sounds different because you're caught in yesterday's order. You're caught in yesterday's established truth. It's been established that what happened yesterday was right and was purposeful as it relates to God stuff. So we got to realize that. So when we talk about this new idea or this new ideal, what's happening is it's new because life is ever moving. Life is always moving. So in God's wisdom and in God's you can't even measure it. What God understands is because this is the truth that we move from glory to glory to glory. We're always moving. Life is always moving. New ideas are always coming. Why? Just the foundational principle of why is because something is always being created. Well, you guys watch the news, you'll watch social media, you'll watch all of these things, and somebody's always creating a new disease. There's always a new something, that God has to deal with. So what happens is that new disease or that new frame of thought has to be met with a new salvation. Now, God is not new, so there's nothing new under the sun of that. But what I mean is the new salvation. It could be the new technology to deal with that thing. I have nothing against, we come up with new equipment in the hospitals. There are always new inventions being created to meet a need or a perceived need. So because of that simple transition, that simple formula or that simple truth, then everything is always in need of an advancement or a salvation or a savior. Savior being, you got, how many of y'all seen the new dentist commercials where the implants that normally would take over a year are taking 24 hours or 48 hours? Somebody's always thinking because the mind is, again, it's the battleground. It's where everything happens. In the beginning, everything that you see was created from something you don't see, which is the mind, which is God's mind. So, and it comes through you. So it's really important to grasp this because we got so many fights going on, and a lot of our fights are they're not valid. There's no need to continue in this direction because God's got this. If you know the order and the process and the law of God. So the next thing that I wanted to say, which I did a video earlier, but I erased it because I feel like it wasn't ready. But anyway, it's all about the King. It's all about what does the King have need of his child for. The king is the king. All of the power that the king has, the king has. The king doesn't need his child, his son or daughter, because in and of themselves, they have no strength in that place to do anything that would benefit the king, right? But the king needs his children because his children need to know what it's like to be king, to be queen, to be the authority. So we got to understand that because if you are going towards learning or understanding what it is that your Father has done, you got to understand that the remedy is you understanding where you belong and what you have to be, or maybe you have to know that you have to be about the King's business. You have to be the king or the queen. You have to understand what it's like to be that vessel. You got to learn how the kingdom rules and the kingdom runs, because by you staying in your present state of immaturity and not learning how the kingdom is run and what the king does, then you'll never advance the kingdom. So a big part of that understanding is really learning and accepting your identity. It's learning and understanding the processes and the laws of God. Now, I'm not talking about religious laws. The law is within you. You can know God from within first, because that's the true place. So you got to understand that, and you got to know that first. And once you do, then you'll start to head in that direction, of being like your Father. I hope it made sense, because it's very, very, very important that we get it and that we grasp it and we start walking towards our kingdom identity and maturing in the ways of our Father. Pastor Jamal, Rising Ground Church, I talk to you. Peace.